Hi, today we're going to talk about Quantum, spelled QTUM, not to be confused with Quant, which has ticker symbol Q and T, because Quant was doing quite well recently, not so much though for Quantum. Quantum is in the top 100 tokens in terms of market cap. It's at place 91, and the recent trend isn't too positive. So the question is this going to turn around? Should you keep your Quantum? Should you buy some? What does the data show? In order to answer this, we will not only look at the Quantum to US dollar chart, we will also look at Quantum with respect to Bitcoin. And last but not least, we will have a look at the Quantum to Ethereum chart. So Quantum is this token that tries to basically combine Bitcoin and Ethereum, tries to accelerate Bitcoin transactions and integrate Ethereum smart contracts. All of this functionality combined basically with the Quantum token. And so we can see that the coin had quite a rough ride during the bear market. It went down basically by 95%, but then after the Corona crash, we went up 25x. Now, is this a time to buy over here? Because you could argue that maybe there's support here, there was a bit of trading around here, maybe another potential support here. So if you would take those supports, you would maybe have a potential downside of like 12 or 25% versus a potential upside of 300%. Now, is this a valid trading idea? In general, risk versus reward looks okay, but should you actually do this? Now, what you see over here is the Quantum to US dollar chart. And I think in general, it's not a good idea to gauge the general sentiment about an altcoin using the US dollar chart. And the reason is a lot of the flow, a lot of the money flow that goes into altcoins is very much determined by the overall market. So if you, for example, look at this big drop over here, right, where we went down 66%. So that's from the middle of February to the middle of March. During that same time, Bitcoin also went down. It went down around 52%. So this is the Bitcoin chart. So you're basically polluting your perspective on the altcoin with general market movements, general crypto market sentiment when you look at the US dollar chart. And that's a problem, right? Because the reason why you buy altcoins is not so much to get general crypto exposure, because then you could just buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. The reason why you buy altcoins is in order to outperform, right? You think maybe you get a better risk versus reward. Obviously, smaller altcoins such as Quantum, they are more risky, but maybe that risk comes with more payoff as well. And so that's the reason why you get into altcoins. You want to outperform. And so one way to look at this is to just look at the altcoin chart with respect to Bitcoin. So the Quantum price divided by the Bitcoin price. This is the chart over here. And when we look at this, we can see a clearer picture, right? We see that in general, the trend is bearish for Quantum. So it would have been way better to just buy and hold the comparatively safe Bitcoin. And we can also see that this rally since the beginning of the year, it gave an edge of around 600% versus Bitcoin. But when you look at this time frame, right, beginning of the year to say the 8th of May, altcoins in general performed very well. What you see over here is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So basically the altcoin rally, it started at the beginning of the year. So at the beginning of the year, Bitcoin was still a very large fraction of the overall crypto market. Most money of crypto was in Bitcoin. And since then, we got this big altcoin rally. So the importance of Bitcoin dropped significantly. And the peak of that drop was in the middle of March. So all altcoins during that time performed very well. It was not something particular to Quantum. And so when you look at this rally over here versus Bitcoin, this is a pattern you see in any altcoin. You see gains versus Bitcoin since the beginning of the year. So from January to May of 2021 in any altcoin. Show me one altcoin that didn't perform during this time period. So what's probably even better than looking at Quantum versus Bitcoin is to look at Quantum versus Ethereum. Because Ethereum is a more actively traded token, right? Bitcoin is bought and held. People DCA into it. They might even use it for retirement, at least for really long-term holding. And so simply also because of the larger transaction fees and because it's seen as digital gold, it's less of a speculative, actively traded asset. But Ethereum is different, right? Ethereum itself is already an altcoin. It's maybe a bigger altcoin. It's like the biggest altcoin in general, but it has this different character to it, right? What probably happens a lot is because a lot of these altcoins, they are ERC20 tokens, they are derived from the Ethereum blockchain. Because of that, you see a lot of money flowing from Ethereum to the altcoin, back to Ethereum again, to another altcoin. So you have this shifting between Ethereum and the altcoins quite actively. And so let's look now at the Quantum to Ethereum chart. And this, I think, is probably the best chart to really gauge how Quantum is doing, relatively speaking. It's obviously not the best chart to really figure out what's your purchasing power, because you don't really buy things with Ethereum. Nothing is priced in Ethereum. But when you're actively trading and your target with altcoins is to outperform, which it should be because they're more risky, then you should look at the altcoin to Ethereum chart. And so unfortunately, this chart is not too encouraging. If we now look at this rally, we are only looking at a 3x, something like this. But we also see that since the beginning of this chart, which is in April 2018, we went down more than 90% versus Ethereum. And that's also pretty consistently, right? Most rallies against Ethereum, they were only like, say, 30% or so, which is not a lot for an altcoin, especially when you have this persistent downtrend over here. Now, one thing that's also very problematic is actually how the price fell. Because you can always say when a price falls and there is a lot of volume during this quote-unquote crash, then maybe that's because active traders, they have been stopped out of the market. So there's basically a lot of forced liquidation happening. If, for example, we look at the Corona crash of Bitcoin, we do see that during this week where the big crash happened, trading volume suddenly spiked. So not a lot of activity up until this point, and then suddenly the price of Bitcoin went down more than 50% and the trading volume shot up. And so probably a lot of people, they had maybe stop losses over here, or they were on margin trading, and so they had no other choice but to sell. And so new investors came in, they bought up those coins and had a new reference price, could take some fluctuations from here and build up again the price by DCAing into the market. Now, a problem is when a price falls while trading volumes are low. And that's what we see over here. And that's also what we see recently here in Quantum. There's incredibly low trading volume in the recent days. The volume is declining and declining. And during this time, the price is not stable, but it's falling heavily. And usually that happens when people just think that Quantum is not a good investment anymore. Basically, they're getting out of the coin and move to alternative investments, maybe because fundamentals don't look that promising anymore, maybe because other projects are simply doing better. Now, okay, your argument might be, I'm not an active trader, I believe in Quantum, and once the general market sentiment is positive again, at least I will get my US dollars back, right? This was basically this big run that happened here in Quantum. It might not have outperformed Ethereum, but since everything was going up, Quantum went up as well, and so you made money. Now, if you're going to sell over here, who says that the overall market, or let's say Ethereum, wouldn't shoot up again and with it then the Quantum price? Now, there's two flaws to this logic. First of all, you should try to pick your best investment, right? At least when your objective is not just to diversify and to cancel out uncorrelated returns, but you really want to outperform, then obviously Quantum isn't doing a great job right now, right? So just by that logic, you would rather buy Ethereum than Quantum. Now, independent of that reason, the question is how likely is it actually that the overall market is going to turn around, that Ethereum is going to go up from here? Now, I think the current market, at least the Ethereum market, is not bullish right now. And I tell you why. I've got a good reason for this. What you see over here is the Ethereum price, and with it, two moving averages. You see the 23-day moving average and the 39-day moving average. Now, those are odd numbers, right? Why would I take the 23 and the 39-day moving average? Look at this. This is the result of a backtesting I've done recently. You see here different moving averages, different durations of moving averages. And what I've done is I've backtested the performance of those moving averages. So the idea is whenever the price goes below the moving average, so here in purple you see the moving average, whenever the price is below, then we would be completely in cash and we wouldn't be with the market. We would sell our Ethereum. And whenever the price goes above the moving average, that's when we follow the market again. And if you do this kind of analysis, you can see that the 23-day moving average and the 39-day moving average, they work the best. The portfolio line for those two moving averages is the best. So if you would have just bought and held Ethereum, you would have gotten only 56% per annum. If, however, you traded according to the 23-day moving average, you would have gotten 166, or according to the 39-day moving average, 144% per annum. So historically speaking, just by pure backtesting, we can say those two moving averages have worked the best. So that's the best moving averages to look at whenever we check the price history of Ethereum. And so right now the price is below both of those moving averages, and I wouldn't touch Ethereum unless we get above them. The current sentiment looks pretty bearish to me. And so no matter what altcoin you actually hold, altcoins tend to move with the Ethereum price. You're in a pretty risky spot right now. I personally think it makes sense to lower your altcoin exposure in this current market environment here. And so you've got basically the perfect negative picture here. Quantum isn't outperforming, the general market looks bearish, you've got negative price development during low trading volume. All of this looks pretty bad. So yeah, I hate to give bad news to you. If I would tell you that I'm super excited about Quantum and that I think that the price will go to the moon, I'm probably likely to get more thumbs up on this video. But I personally prefer to keep it realistic on this channel, to give my objective opinion. And that opinion obviously might be wrong. Nobody can really see the future. But if I had to make a decision right now, I would definitely get out of this coin. So I know this was bad news. If you enjoyed this video anyways, feel free to give this a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. I publish 2 to 3 videos every week. And in case you've got Telegram, we've also got a small group, a spam-free group that you can join. The link is in the video description below. See you next time. Bye bye.